So my journey with littleBits starts by me wanting to really put the power of electronics in everybody's hands. Looking around and looking at a society that has a very weird and tense relationship with electronics, with technology. We purchase them, we hoard them, we throw them away, we don't understand them. They control us. They control our behaviors, our relationship, our data, and yet we don't understand how they work, and we don't understand how to make our own. From our phones to our cars to our lights in our bedrooms, we have this really weak relationship when it comes to electronics. So for me, littleBits is about breaking down technology and breaking down lights and sounds and sensors and motors and solar panels and making them something that is in the hands of everyone. Whether you are an engineer, whether you've gone through 7 years of PhD at MIT, or whether you're a kid, or whether you're a retired mom sitting in Wichita. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You should be able to have the power of electronics in your hands. So littleBits, for those of you who don't know, is a library of electronics that have magnets. And each brick is a fully pre-engineered, pre-assembled circuit, and they snap together with magnets so that you can make a circuit without any experience in electronics whatsoever. So I have a battery, a pressure sensor, and a light, and suddenly I've made a pressure-sensitive circuit. I can swap this out with this oscillator, oops, which of course I dropped, and put a speaker, and suddenly I've created an instrument. Combining again the pressure sensor with this, oof, this is going to be hard. The pressure sensor with this, here we go. This is hard standing up. Please ignore. Oops. We'll get there. So you can suddenly create a little instrument that's pressure sensitive. And the idea is that usually you have to program and you have to wire and you have to solder and you have to, more than anything, want to be an engineer. You have to want to do electronics to be able to do this. So how do you start the process of putting the power of electronics in the hands of everyone? Step number one, and this starts in early 2008 when I started to work on this as a fellow at IBM a few blocks away from here. Step number one, make it modular. Some of the most beautiful things in the world that have really broken down something complex have done it through modularization. Lego took something that was complex, structural engineering, buildings, bridges, and broke it down into modular pieces that fit together, and suddenly everybody could make a building. Object-oriented programming took something that usually code, where tens and thousands of lines of code are really incomprehensible to people, broke it down into modules, and suddenly when you put modules together, you're able to build something complex one brick at a time. So step number one was, how do you make electronics modular? So these are the very first iterations of littleBits from early 2008, a cardboard piece with an LED jammed into it, where I was trying to sort of understand how you could make something that you can make into a brick. This is a sound recorder here, a battery here, and really trying to sort of feel what a modular approach to electronics might be. The second step was make it magnetic. And magnetic means many things to me. On one hand, it means magnets, and the magnets play a very functional role in littleBits so that you don't put things the wrong way, so that you don't do something dangerous, because you could do something dangerous when putting electronics together. But even more than that, it means the magic that magnets brings to you. So this idea that electronics are not just functional, they are magical and magnetic, and they leave you wanting more, and they leave you desiring more. The very first early prototypes of littleBits had these magnets around them, these little donut magnets that I bought at McMaster Carr, started with my hand with some copper tape and jammed hairpins inside through the cardboard to be able to hold down. Many, many magnets flew all around, and it was kind of a scary sight. And then it evolved, started to become a little bit more elaborate. Circuit boards, I made circuit boards, had the magnets in them. Combining magnets with electronics is something that is actually pretty complex. This was before sort of MagSafe. It was the days of putting together electronics, and magnets are not, has a lot of manufacturing difficulties. Some of the early images as well. The third thing, make it scalable. It's not interesting that you could just make something light up, so just to make something buzz. You have to make it a system, making something that scales, where every single brick, every single module works with every other module. Every light works with every button, with every sensor, with every battery, and you are able on the spot to imagine anything that you can think possible. And that sort of complexity has to be thought of early on. So it started to become the system where you could really mix and match and have these billions of combinations. Today we have 60 bits in the littleBits library. We have another 50 on the way. There are trillions of billions of combinations that are possible. It's the most extensive hardware library in the world. And it means that we cannot even fathom the things that people could make with it. And we don't want to. We just want to make it scalable.